All right, get ready, because today we are diving into the world of George Orwell's 1984.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that book, that seems
Mm.
super relevant today.
Yeah, and we're going to figure out why.
Exactly. We're going to go beyond just like what happens in the book and really
Mhm.
dissect why it's still so powerful.
Yeah, we're working with a really detailed summary of 1984, so
Yes.
by the end, you'll understand the story and how it connects to our world today, and maybe even leave you with something to think about after we're done.
Yeah, because sometimes fiction can shows things about reality in a way that just like reading the news can't.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Oceania, constant war, telescreens watching you, Big Brother and the party controlling everything.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah, Orwell just throws us right into this world where there's no individuality, history is rewritten all the time, and even language is manipulated.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you wonder, how much control do we even have over our own thoughts?
No. That's a good question. And speaking of control, we meet Winston Smith, our main character.
Yeah,
He works at the Ministry of Truth, which is kind of ironic.
totally.
His job's to rewrite history so that it says what the party wants it to say.
It's crazy how obvious it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost funny how blatant it is.
It's like Orwell's way of showing how those in power just twist the truth right in front of us.
And then there are those slogans you see everywhere, like war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength.
Oh, for sure.
It's like they're messing with your head.
That's that double think, you know?
Yeah.
Being able to believe two opposite things at the same time.
Oh, wow.
It's how the party keeps everyone confused and under control.
Okay, so you have this super oppressive regime, but Winston is different. He
Yeah.
starts to rebel in small ways at first, like keeping a diary to write down his thoughts, and then he falls in love with Julia.
Right.
They're looking for real connection in this world where everyone is isolated.
It's like they're desperate for something real.
Right.
Yeah.
You really feel that
Yeah.
their secret meetings in the countryside away from those telescreens are so exciting, but dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, they're trying to be human in a world that wants to dehumanize them.
They find this kind of safe space in an antique shop run by Mr. Charrington.
Oh, yeah.
It feels almost cozy and safe.
Almost, but Orwell is so good at building suspense, right?
Yeah.
He makes you feel like something isn't right.
Yeah, because it's 1984 and nothing is cozy and safe.
Right.
Winston gets this idea that O'Brien, this high-ranking party guy, is part of a secret resistance group called the Brotherhood.
Okay.
It's like a little bit of hope in this dark world, you know?
Oh, I see.
And they meet secretly at O'Brien's really nice apartment,
Oh, wow.
which is so different from Winston's life.
Yeah, I bet.
Winston and Julia swear their loyalty, ready to risk it all to fight the party.
Makes you wonder, what would you be willing to risk for freedom?
Right. Yeah, that's a big question.
For sure.
But here's the thing. Is O'Brien really who Winston thinks he is? Or is Winston so desperate for change that he's not seeing the warning signs?
That says a lot about how our minds can be manipulated, not just in the book, but in our lives, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When we want something so badly, it's easy for someone to take advantage of us.
And then there's Emmanuel Goldstein, this almost mythical figurehead of the resistance.
Right.
He wrote a book that exposes the party's whole ideology.
That's like a forbidden text showing what's behind the curtain.
When Winston finally gets this book,
Yeah.
it's like he's found the key to understanding the truth. And one of the things the book says is that the party just wants power for the sake of power, which is scary.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Like they don't even care about anything else.
No greater purpose.
It's all about control.
Wow.
You know, that reminds me of...
Hold on. We'll come back to that. Because remember that antique shop that felt so safe?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's just say things aren't always what they seem.
Oh, no.
Winston and Julia's little rebellion is about to be crushed in a really brutal way.
Oh, man. Remember how I said things were going to get intense?
Uh-oh.
Well, Winston and Julia think they're safe in the antique shop.
Yeah.
And then they're arrested.
What?
The person they trusted betrayed them? That's got to be rough.
It shows how powerful the party is.
Mm.
There's no escape. Big Brother's always watching.
Yeah, he is.
This is just the beginning of a nightmare for Winston.
From there, we go to the Ministry of Love. But love in 1984 is not what you'd expect.
Uh-oh, I can imagine.
It has a whole different meaning to the party.
Yeah, I bet it's twisted.
So we left off with Winston facing the horrors of the Ministry of Love.
Oh, yeah.
It's where the party uses these messed up ways to crush anyone who rebels.
It's where re-education gets really scary.
Winston goes through torture, like real physical pain,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the mental stuff is really messed up.
Yeah.
It's designed to break him down, make him question what's real, and force him to conform. Makes you wonder, how much can one person take before they snap?
Yeah, it really shows how fragile we are, especially when we're alone and have no hope.
Then there's O'Brien, the guy Winston thought was on his side.
Right.
Well, he's the one behind Winston's torture.
What?
And he tells Winston the party's true goal: total power over everyone's minds.
Oh, wow.
It's not about beliefs anymore. It's about total domination.
That's scary. And it reminds me of some bad stuff that's happened in history.
Yeah.
Like regimes that wanted to control what people thought, not just what they did. It reminds us that freedom is fragile.
It's like, how can you even fight back if they control how you think?
Right.
Let me see that doublethink thing again,
Yeah.
O'Brien makes Winston believe that 2 + 2 = 5.
Wow, really?
It shows how the party can change reality itself.
Yeah, it shows how they twist language to change what's true.
Right.
It's kind of like what happens in our world, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how certain words get used in politics or ads to change how we feel.
Oh, yeah, like when they call cutting taxes relief.
Exactly.
Or when they call a lie alternative facts.
It's a sneaky way to control people, but it works.
It makes you think, are they trying to pull a 1984 on us?
It highlights why we need to think critically and pay attention to how language is used.
So Winston ends up in this place called Room 101.
Okay.
Imagine a room that has your worst fear in it. That's Room 101.
Oh, wow.
For Winston, it's rats, and the party uses this fear to completely break him.
It's like the ultimate breaking point where you give up everything you believe in just to escape the terror.
Yeah, it's a bleak reminder of what totalitarian regimes will do to stay in control.
Yeah, I agree.
Winston ends up betraying Julia. He shouts, "Do it to Julia, not me."
Oh,
He
no.
chooses to save himself instead of being loyal to Julia.
It's so sad.
That's like the party took away his soul.
It makes you think about what we'd be willing to do to survive.
Like, where do we draw the line?
Right. What are our limits?
When Winston is released, he's not the same.
Yeah.
He's empty, broken.
right.
She sees Julia again, but the love is gone. It's been replaced with coldness and fear. It's like the party sucked the life out of them.
It shows how totalitarianism can destroy not just people, but also the connections between them.
In the end, the party wins.
Really?
Winston embraces Big Brother. He even says he loves Big Brother.
Wow, that's disturbing.
It's the worst ending you can imagine. The state has complete control.
It shows how powerful those in power can be and how easy it is for people to give in.
It leaves you feeling scared, like, could this really happen to us?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's something we'll explore in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Even though 1984 is dark, it also makes us think critically about our own world.
Exactly. And we'll talk about some of the big ideas in the book. What is reality? What are the limits of what we know?
Yeah, that's
And does the individual have any power at all?
because 1984 is not just a story. It reflects our fears, our weaknesses, and ultimately our ability to be both good and bad.
So we've talked about the story, the characters, and how 1984 connects to our world.
For sure.
Now, things get kind of crazy. Like, if the party controls everything, changes history, even messes with language,
Right.
can we even say there's, like, a real truth?
That's the big question for Winston in the book.
Yeah.
He wants to believe truth exists outside of what the party says.
Right.
But O'Brien, he's tricky.
Yeah, he is.
He argues that reality is only in our minds.
Hmm.
And since the party controls minds, they control reality.
Whoa, so if you control how people think, you control what they believe is true.
Yeah.
That's scary. It makes you question everything.
It's unsettling, right?
Yeah, how do we know it's real?
That's what 1984 does.
Right.
It shows us how easy it is to be tricked.
Oh, yeah.
We're always getting information thrown at us, news, social media, politics.
Right.
How much of it is biased or even lies?
Yeah, good point.
It's hard to find what's actually true.
It's like that saying, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth can get its shoes on.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
And in 1984, the truth is basically trapped in the Ministry of Love.
Exactly.
Winston tries to remember things to prove the party is wrong about history,
Right.
but even his memories get messed up from the torture.
It shows how easy it is to manipulate what we remember.
So if reality can be changed, are we just, like, pawns in a game?
It's a disturbing thought, for sure.
We're all going to become controlled by those in power?
I don't think Orwell is saying it's hopeless.
Okay.
Winston rebels, even when things are super bad.
Yeah.
He believes there's something human that the party can't take away.
Oh.
That's the hope, that we won't just give in.
But he does break. He
Yeah.
betrays Julia and accepts Big Brother.
It's a tough ending.
Because the control wins completely.
And that's why 1984 still matters today.
Right.
It warns us that the fight for freedom and truth never really ends.
Oh, yeah.
It tells us to think for ourselves, question authority, and hold on to what makes us human.
So what can we do?
It starts with knowing how language can be used to trick us. Question your sources. Be skeptical of those in power.
Good advice.
Most importantly, think critically. Don't just accept what you see.
Like Orwell is saying, wake up, think for yourself.
Exactly. 1984 is like a wake-up call.
It tells us to fight for our own reality.
Right.
So here's something to think about. We have all this new technology, algorithms, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Are we facing new ways of being controlled that Orwell never even thought of? And if so, how do we stay free in our minds?
That's the challenge for all of us. 1984 doesn't give us all the answers, but it helps us ask the right questions.
That's a good way to put it.
Thanks.
This deep dive has been really intense.
It has.
And also really important, you know?
Yeah, it makes you think.
It reminds us to stay vigilant, think critically, and keep fighting for what we believe in.
Exactly. That's the takeaway.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into 1984.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay free